Hello, ICC friends. It is your girl Xaviera, and I am very excited because I have a very special guest with me here today. Most of you can see him already, and I'm pretty sure you recognize him. It is Mr. Sean Riggs. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Thank you for having me. Ice cream combos.
Ice Cream Convos, where we serve delicious scoops of entertainment and celebrity news. So, the first thing I want to do is congratulate you on Lazarus. Um,
Thank you.
you are amazing, pretty much. I mean, you come in, you play the lead character, which is Mr. Ray Lazarus. So, could you tell everyone a little bit about the film who didn't have the opportunity to see the film just yet?
Okay, I could do that without giving too much and any spoiler alerts. But it's a incredible character. He has a significant background where he was a ex-military, ex-con, and he got a little bit on some troubled times. So he's returning back to his city, Paradise City, a fictional city, and there's some things going on with the overlord of the city, a character named Testament. And so he's recruiting gentlemen like himself that are falling off on bad times in this poverty-stricken city to help do things to orchestrate either drugs or crime and to control the city for his own liking. Lazarus turns down the particular offer and he loses his life because of that. The way Lazarus sees it is that he was just going to basically all of the stuff that he was doing. He wanted to sacrifice himself for the better of the good and the people. He'd rather die than see his people continue to go down. And they take his life, and a fictional ant god brings Lazarus back. And his name is not necessarily connected to the Bible. I just like the name because of the fact that it has a biblical context to it. But the fictional ant god brings him back and gives him like godlike powers, in which he doesn't understand why he's being brought back or why he's being chosen, in which you will find out later on in the story of who he really is in a comic book essence, which I'm not going to say that any because that's something later on down the line. So the film is pretty much keeping you tapped into this is what's going on with him, and it keeps you questioning like who is he and why is he and what is he here for. And that's why we used to use the hashtag who is Lazarus. He is trying to find that out for himself. So he's given an overseer who's pretty much guiding him. It's a spiritual angel, so to speak, called Hellborn, who's guiding him and telling him what his powers are and helping him to understand what he is and telling him how he can go about taking down the overlord and the people of the city that are hurting his city. So he goes on a basically this journey to finding everyone as a vigilante to saving his city, Paradise City. And through that, there are a lot of things that are developing with him. He's getting stronger, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say. It just starts getting a lot better and better as you keep watching.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned earlier that it's not really tied into biblical, but there is a lot of different references. For instance, your name is Ray Lazarus, right? So I
Mhm.
was watching and I'm like, so why are none of his friends like truly like blown away or not like finding the irony in the fact that his last name is Lazarus and he came back from the dead? But that was funny to me. But also the the drug lord, his name is Testament, and then I think the Bible, the New Testament, the Old Testament,
Mhm.
so there are a lot of different things that are kind of tied in that I thought was like very kind of brilliant as
Mhm.
far as the film is concerned, because it does have that tie, but it's not per se a biblical or a religious type of film. And it's funny because I find that it is categorized as a thriller, but it's more like a action. It's more action slash sci-fi for me. How do you feel about where the film actually falls in? Because I am all about a good bang bang shoot 'em up, throw down fighting. And it's funny because my daughter started watching it with me, and when it first, the opening scene where things were happening, and because I'm trying not to spoil it as well, so in the opening scene where things were happening, and she was like, wait a minute. And so I was like, well, his name is Lazarus, and she's like, oh, so then it kind of sunk in or whatever. But I was like, no, this is not a thriller, because when I read the description, I was expecting thriller. This is like action, kick ass, give it to them. And it has a great message of redemption as well in it. But as far as the category, let me just back up. How would you categorize the film yourself?
I do categorize it as more like a supernatural type,
Yeah.
supernatural action. And the reason we threw the thriller context in there is just because we just wanted to reach a broader audience. We
Yeah.
felt like just because of the tone of the film, it was dark. It's dark and it's gritty, and you see certain essences of something that's thriller like. But we know that people, when they watch it, they're going to say the same thing that you were saying, like, "Oh, this is not necessarily a thriller. It's more like a supernatural action." But we felt
Yeah.
like it could segue into certain different audiences, and we can
True.
get away with at least grabbing it. You could never get away with calling, for instance, you can get away with almost saying Blade is the thriller, because of
Yeah,
the
you could.
vampires in there,
You could,
but
yeah.
we knew that if we said we didn't want to limit the film at all
Mm-hmm.
and not reach a certain demographics. One thing we didn't want to do, because we didn't want to call it just urban. We want to have an urban texture to it, but if you look at it, it's a real diverse film, and
Absolutely.
we wanted to change the narrative of that and reach so many different audiences where people can come in and say, you almost feel like there's something thriller like going on, but then you're like, well, I can see it because he is brought back from the dead, so that's a little scary and spooky right there. But that was the reason why we wanted to do that. We just wanted to
Yeah.
reach a broader audience. But really, I will always say, when people say superhero, I say let's start with supernatural
Yes.
hero. Because
Yeah.
you when people hear superhero, they want to come pick you apart. Like, he's not like Iron Man. It's
Hmm.
That's not like Superman. I wanted it to be grounded where I'm from Chicago. You
Yes.
know,
Chi-town.
what if somebody like that lived in Chicago, and they sacrificed their life for all of the lives that are being disposed of in Chicago right now, which
Right.
was going on when I was growing up. I felt like Ray Lazarus. I wanted to see, like, I could never believe a character like, let's say, Thor or something like that,
With a
or
hammer.
with a hammer just walking down the street. Like, man, boy, you're about to get hurt. Like,
Especially in Chicago, right?
Chicago, go back to whatever construction site you came from.
Okay.
Some man walking down with some big old mechanical outfit on, calling him Iron Man. I'm like, all right, good luck.
Hmm. Yeah.
But so we know that that's not real. But if I wanted it to feel real, that you can walk out and see a guy that is walking down your street, grounded character that can be that can sacrifice himself in the biblical context of it to help the city around him. The only closest person I could say that would be like a Luke Cage or something,
Yeah.
and I love how gritty that is. But I wanted it to have that same kind of feel that you can walk out of your own neighborhood in the inner cities. I don't feel like inner cities have something like that, where they can see something. They say, like, I won't see Batman walking down the street, but I might can see Ray Lazarus walking down the street, or something similar to that. So that's something that you know we were talking about in the beginning. Within 6 months of pre-production, developing what this character is and the meaning behind it, and how it can reach certain audiences, and not just people in the inner city. That people all around can look at it and say, "This is different. This is not the same thing that I've seen." And it's very hard to try to. This is a comic book world. How do we
Right.
fit right in there and really thrive, and not try to do too much, but not do too little, and stick right in there where people could ask all the questions that you're asking right now. So,
I think you guys, I definitely have to take my hat off to you because you guys did a beautiful job. And one of the things that I did want to actually commend you guys on was the fact that Ray was so relatable, you know, and we do, it's not often, like you said, most superheroes are not realistic in that sense. And I think it was perfect that Ray was so relatable. Ray could be your uncle, your cousin, your homie down the street, and
actually,
even throughout him going through that process, he was just really, really grounded. Like, and I guess it was just his laid back personality as well. And I think that helped a lot, the fact that he had a laid back personality, but he was also very intent on trying to understand why this is happening, the process, and how he can use what has happened to him to the benefit of his city and helping others. So I don't know, sometimes I get a little deep in my thinking depending on how I'm feeling that day. And I just
all
thought
good.
that no, but I just thought that it was beautiful because so many Black men in our communities are standing up to be the Ray Lazarus of the neighborhood, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, so to have that type of, I just, do you get where I'm going with that? I just feel like, I'm
Yep.
going down my rabbit hole, but I just feel like it's a representation of what a lot of black men are in the communities who are trying to make it better for us and who are trying to make it better for our children.
Hmm.
Sometimes it don't necessarily take them having to die, but then there are some who do actually sacrifice their lives, whether it's voluntary or involuntary is what I'm trying to say. So I just appreciate you for that. And congratulations on the film making it to you to be
Hmm.
when I Googled the trailer, I was like, hey, this trailer has been here for quite some time and it's an independent film. So for you guys to get this release on Tubi on February 26th during Black History Month, which I thought was freaking fantastic,
Hmm.
how does that feel to now have an even broader audience who can come in and be introduced to this film and have the opportunity to watch?
I, this film, I really, it was a labor of love. I'm a Christian, and I prayed over this film from the beginning. Every Sunday, I know a lot of people, they have their beliefs, their belief
Yeah.
system, and I have no disagreements or anything about anybody. I just feel like if you're connected to a higher power, you're connected to the universe, and you walk in your own faith, there are things that are going to happen. My story was I walked in that faith. I was, sowing into this particular project and praying over it. I didn't know where it was going to go, but I know that I myself, it was synonymous with the character. I knew that I was becoming something too. I was deeply connected with Lazarus and his journey. And it's funny because even when I'm watching it, he doesn't talk like how I'm talking right now. And I kept saying, we took a year and 5 months. And I'm like, wow, how did I just tap in every single time to this character? And I feel him. I feel the journey. I see Lazarus. I see something there. And it's really powerful to me because now people are getting a chance to see this story into fruition. And I feel like what they're seeing up there was really the journey too that I was going through as a person. The person who I was before was dying and becoming something else on the creativity side, to speak in my voice and telling others you if you have a voice, you have the power to getting out there and doing it yourself. I never was given the opportunity to be a lead actor in a as an action star. I never was given that opportunity. As a matter of fact, I never auditioned for one. I auditioned to be in films. I've gotten films as a lead actor on dramas or great films, but to be able to produce your own and to give yourself your own yes, I felt like I wanted it to resonate not only to brothers and sisters who look like myself, but to understand that you could do something that will impact the entire world. Issa Rae isn't categorized as urban.
Right.
Everyone watches that and talks about insecure. You know, you have so many different people that make an impact and they are not labeled in one area. Like Lena Waithe, she's from Chicago. It's me. But she's
Yeah.
making an impact on so many different areas right now. And I mentioned them because too, I had a good friend of mine, an incredible friend of mine. I don't know if you heard about her. What's her name? Is Erica Watson. She's
Okay.
out of Chicago. And
Okay.
if anybody's listening, you can look her up. She just passed away this weekend of
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
COVID-19,
that. Wow.
and she's an incredible writer. She was an inspiration in my life. She was the first black female woman writer that I ever was given an opportunity from in college.
Wow.
She gave me this incredible play. She put me on, and she always had this vision and believing in me. And we've stayed in incredible friends, family. She even talked to me and said, "Hey, I can't wait till the release of Lazarus is going to come out on my birthday, and it's Black History Month. Yay!" And then she passed away. And
Wow.
I tell you, there's so much in there that if people get a chance to know me, I had a lot of love to make this film happen. And I was tireless. I wore so many hats. I was a location manager, location scout. I was the financier, the casting, the cast
Executive producer.
executive producer, which is all of that, and craft services. I called people, I talked to people, I did so much work, but it was effortless to me because I loved it. And they say when you work, when you do something that you love, it's not work.
It's not work.
It's not
Yep.
work at all.
Yep.
And would I go? The only thing I would change is paying out my own pocket.
Yeah, yeah. I feel you on that.
Like, right.
We here. We here on that.
Don't be going around.
We
Let's
here.
stop all that. Like,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
it's the things that someone said to me. Said, yo, I'm gonna tell you who really distributed your project. And I said, oh, who produced it? I said, who was that? He said, God produced your project, bro. And that's where you're at right now. And so I'm just looking forward to making more impactful stories. I got great partnerships. I saw an incredible sermon with TD Jakes talking about branded, and
Yes.
the things that I went through filming this project. I'm healed on the inside, but I know that the scars are Lazarus is my scar, and it's an incredible scar. It's the brand. That's the brand that everyone is going to see, and it's going to continue to go on. And what these relationships are because of that brand. And TD Jake said, you got to walk with your brand, and that's where your blessings come from, because that's how you're labeled as a child of the Most High. It's through that brand. So, you know, I just say that's it right now. As you can know, I'm extremely happy, but I'm humble. People say, yo, why aren't you doing backwards flips? So we're in a football game, man. I never was the one to keep dancing in the end zone. Let's win the game and let's go win. If I was made it to the NFL, I would have been, let's go to the Super Bowl and win.
Right.
Then we'll
Right.
celebrate. But then we'll stop, and then next season, let's do it all again. You know what I'm saying? So I'm extremely happy that this story gets out to people, and I hope it changes people's lives. I hope people are inspired. I'm inspired by Les Brown's, the motivational speaker, people like that. If anything that I could do, I hope this is a blessing, to be a blessing to someone else.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate the fact that you made this film. How long did it take from start to finish? I know you were wearing so many hats, but the filming process, because I know in some cases now the trailer was released in 2020. So did you film in 2019, or did you guys get impacted by the pandemic in any way, shape, or form while filming?
Actually, the pandemic helped out with post-production work and finding
Ah,
a great home, and having me
okay.
to actually sit down in quarantine and focus on getting this place somewhere. But excuse me, it took about a year and to be honest, it took about a year and 7 months to get the
Okay.
entire film done. And
Yeah.
that was because we had everyone had different schedules, and then of course when I lost funding, I had to figure out how to get funding. I didn't get investing until I was about 60% done, and I had investors come in and help, but they didn't
Okay.
come in and help and just take over it. I still had to keep sowing into it, but I just needed some type of backing to help
Right.
to keep going. And one of the most significant investors, it was two of them. One of them was my brother, Eddie
Oh.
Riggs. If you notice in the executive producer credits, there's Eddie Riggs is in there. That's my blood brother, my older brother. He has an incredible journey and a story of his own in his life, and he's
Yeah.
finally came up and said, "I got a place where I can help my little brother, and I'm about to come on and help you." He did this all the way in from Atlanta while I'm in Los Angeles, and he said, "Anything you need, anywhere I can help, I'm going to help you get this film done." So anytime
That's
I was backed up
fantastic.
against the wall and I couldn't to take care of something, I would make a call to him. No matter where he was running like three different companies. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna help you out with that. Edward Davey is another significant investor. So
Okay.
older brother, he's like older brother like uncle guy. He's out in Sacramento, California. He's a commercial realtor. He loved the idea. He loved that. He said, "I just want to see young brothers like yourself win." So, and I hope that people are hearing what I'm saying right there.
Yeah.
I hope people are hearing that, because the
Absolutely.
stigma is that we can't work together. Yes, we
Or we
can,
don't support one another.
but we don't support one another. Really? I mean, it happens in every culture. There are people that don't support, and there are people that support. So why do we always have this stigma that we're not supporting each other? Just because a couple of people that you ran across didn't support you? Well, you're gonna find that with any race
Well,
that's gonna happen.
well, Sean, my thing is it a cultural thing, or is it just that you got the wrong circle?
It's you got the wrong circle. And I
Okay.
always tell people that. How many people are in this world?
Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like if if
Yes.
if if I meet somebody named John, John is horrible to me. Does that mean everybody named John is horrible? Or is it that
Right.
John? And I try to tell people that. Now I didn't meticulously force it to be that way. I
Right.
just think that I was given something and that it worked that way. It worked out that way. And I was comfortable. I wasn't scared to go to another brother like myself and say, "Hey man, can you help out?" Michael Anderson too. He's a silent investor that helped
Mm-hmm.
out with a little bit. But he was another brother out of Hawaii. But these are guys that came together, and I kept taking pictures. I just wanted people to see brothers and sisters coming together. Now, if there was a significant female or woman or that was going to help out, I would have showcased that. But I had that on set. I had a ton of African American sisters that helped out on set in the production of us
Mm-hmm.
getting it done. And that once again was not forced. It was just that's how it happened. And we worked together. Latinos too. And it
Mm-hmm.
was really diverse. Arlene Flores, she's Latin and she helped with the wardrobe. Noel Galimi, he helped me with getting a couple of Latin guys to help with casting. Ken Black was one of the grips that was on the film. Johnny Esposito worked on, and they both of them had acting roles too in it.
Right.
There's so much in things that are impactful about this because it should resonate with everybody out there in their communities that you might have something in your community that works for you, and you don't have to go outside of that. These guys, we all came together and we did something, and honestly, a lot of people would say, "Man, you were the boss, Sean. You were the boss." I was just like, to lead to me, I saw like I was quarterbacking. You know what I'm saying? Like you're the best running back, or you're the best this. I'm not going to tell you how to run a ball, but here's the play. So we're all going to design it, and we're going to win this game together. And we did that. And R.L. Scott on the cinematic universe, we did so
Yeah.
many. We had so many ways of creating this and making it work. And teamwork does make a dream work. If everybody is together and they're not trying to bring each other down or anything like that, which we hear happen so many different times. And I did have some people in the beginning that led me astray, that took money from me, but
Wow.
I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I couldn't allow that to disrupt and distract me
Mm-hmm.
from what the common goal was. Always keep the main thing the main thing. That's what they always say.
Absolutely.
So and now
Absolutely.
we're here today, and I'm
You
talking
know,
to you.
yeah, and you're talking to me, and I'm very honored to have this conversation with you. As I listen to you talk about the process of the film and everyone who pitched in and however way they contributed to this film, making it to us here today on Tubi. It just I'm just looking at you and I'm just like, oh, that's nothing but favor. Favor ain't fair. You just had favor over you. You had favor where, I always tell people because I do this full time. And I always tell people, that I love it. I'm passionate about it. So it's never worked for me. And so to hear you say all the things that I kind of adopt in my own lane and line of work, it's just so, I'm just sitting here smiling like, how Sean know my story too? But it's just one of those things. Maybe I got a favor as well, but it's just beautiful to really hear you share that story because I love talking to independent filmmakers and independent actors who are in independent films because that's a whole different beast that
Yeah, of
people
course.
don't really understand. The love and time and commitment that it takes to get those projects done. So I'm just so appreciative of you sharing and just like really digging into what it took to get this film here so people can understand the importance of why they need to support Lazarus. So I definitely appreciate that and congratulations because this truly was a labor of love based off of what you just told me. And I'm so grateful that everyone did come together with you being the vessel. I'll consider you the vessel with you being the vessel to get it here to us.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. They always say in Hollywood, you either got the studios and you hear the word green light. But when you green
Hmm.
light something on your own, I remember a good friend of mine, Eamon Joseph, he's on Snowfall. You know,
Yes.
that's
Unk. That's
Cam.
Unk. Yeah.
Yeah, so him. We did a film together. I helped him produce. Well, he was the lead producer. See, we were passing the torch. He was the lead producer on Call Me King. I co-produced. I had one of the
Hmm.
acting roles on it, and I helped him to develop and get that done. And then that did so much for him in his career. And then here we are here. He even helped me in a lot of areas of Lazarus, talking to me just so I don't make the same mistakes and
Right.
telling me you're going to get through it. You're going to get through it. But Eamon will always tell me, he said, listen, man, let me tell you something, what I went through on Call Me King. Hollywood didn't ask you to make that film. So
Hmm.
don't think just because you got the film done, someone owes you something. You know what I'm saying? Don't mistake. And one of the quotes I remember hearing before is, and actually, his wife just posted that. Don't mistake movement for progress. What that means is
Wow.
there's still work to be done.
Yes.
No one, just because you made it right over there, no one asked you to do that. It's still work that has to be done. And so even now, when people are like, "Man, you're not excited. You're not, look at this. Did you hear this?" Or I get a phone call. Now, Sean, I'm tired of telling you things. You don't get excited. And I'm like, because I'm just now getting started. The work is here. You just came and gave me some work to do at a job that I love. I'm not getting excited like, what? No, it's time to work. I love this, but it's time to work and get the job done. So, you know, another last question I remember someone said, they said, what is your end game? There is none. There's no end game. I want to keep going. You know, Don
Absolutely.
Singleton still, like you said, the Lazarus is a representation of a lot of the pioneers, even the ones that have passed on. They're not gone. They're still here. Their power still runs around us spiritually. We see them. I mean, if that's the case, then why do we have an MLK Day? Why do we still talk about Malcolm X? Why did Regina King just direct One Night in Miami? You know,
Yes.
I didn't grow up with a father in my life, but
Same.
I have a father. I'm a father to my son now. And that doesn't, now I have the opportunity to give him something that I didn't have. And honestly, it feels much better that way because my mother was like a Lazarus. I seen my mother go through the scars. I seen my mother's soul die and resurrect right in front of me and keep
Yeah.
moving right in front of my eyes because she sacrificed her life for me. There's so many things that I go back and like, Mom, you were always there at my track meets. You were always there here and you were still working. You still had all this time in the world, but when did you sleep?
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like these parents of ours, and you know the people that we grow up around, these uncles that you talk about, they have powers, and they really gave their souls to their young ones, the ones that were there. And I
Absolutely.
think that that's something you can connect with any character that you see in your life right now that is sacrificial and doing things on your behalf. You know, you never know what they're going through. You never know what they're trying to discover about themselves too. And that's synonymous with the character Lazarus in all of
Yes.
our lives. So redemption is all right there that you just said. You know, we all get a second chance. What are you going to do it? We're all, the biggest thing about superheroes is what? They have a protagonist and an antagonist, right? But what's the real thing? What's the real part of the story? Is when the protagonist and antagonist is going on inside that one hero.
Right.
That's the balance, good versus evil within yourself.
Yes.
And we all go through that, you know.
Every day. Every
So
day.
yeah, I'm not here. I'm not trying to do this so I can be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Somebody said, Sean, put your foot on their neck. I said, why? I need both my feet to keep moving. I don't want to put my foot on anybody's neck. I'm not
You know,
doing
some of
this.
those sayings, when you really think about them, you're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. But
You know, karma is watching. Like, okay, I bless you,
yeah,
and you doing this to talk mess. Oh, okay, that's the guy
there it
running to
is.
the end zone, and he trying to dance before he get in the end zone, and then he lose the football and fumble it.
Yes.
See, that's
Yes.
what Bug get. Oh, he
Yes.
danced in the end zone, and then the next time he fumble. See, there you
There it
go. You
is.
all that mess. No, you just be humble and continue to do what you do. And if it's for the right reasons, which is what you love, and not for any narcissistic trait,
Right.
you know, you're gonna keep getting blessings. And we're not all perfect, but always go with love and not with hate. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna keep getting the blessings, whatever you believe in, whether you believe in, you have whatever religion you have. If
Right.
you go with love, then you're gonna keep getting blessed, and the abundance of love is gonna be reciprocated back in your life. So that's that.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to give you plenty of love, and we are going to give Lazarus plenty of love. So it
Thank you.
is now streaming on Tubi. And I think a lot of people really don't understand that they have Tubi, because it wasn't until I was introduced to Lazarus that I realized I have Tubi on my TV.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that people understand that they have Tubi and it is there so that they can go view this film and support you. And a lot of my audience know you from If Loving You Is Wrong. So
Oh,
A lot of my audience will know you from there, but I will definitely encourage them, as I will as well, to continue to support all of your projects from this point forward and beyond, because there is no end game. We're just going to keep going.
Right. And last thing I will say is, which I didn't mention before, Tyler Perry giving me that job on this Loving You Is Wrong early on, starting in 2016, was one of my biggest reasons I was able to get the funding to go do Lazarus. And once again,
Wow.
that's Tyler Perry, y'all. Tyler Perry. He was a blessing.
Wow.
He blessed my life, and I was able to
Yes.
come out and give Lazarus to y'all. He don't know yet. He know I kind of. He's a cool. We got a great camaraderie. I just when he sees it, he can be like, "Why didn't you ever tell me, man? Why didn't you tell me?" But
It's so funny. I
you
have a
never know
funny
who you're blessing and who you're touching.
I have a funny Tyler Perry story. Actually, when Acrimony was released, Lionsgate flew me to New York for the premiere, because he held the premiere for Acrimony, the film with Taraji and all that. He held that in New York. And so I was like, oh, I want to be super cute. So I bought these boots, Sean. These boots, they were fire. Okay, so if you saw me, you would be like, oh, she killing it. So the premiere went beautifully. Taraji, everyone was there that you could think of, and they had this after party at this beautiful place in New York City, and it was like on the 3000th floor, and a big picture window, and everyone was in there just mingling, having a good time. And Tyler comes up, and I was like, oh snap, let me go say hi to Tyler. Sean, those boots had my feet hurting so bad that I could not make it over to Tyler Perry. So I'm trying to make it over to Tyler, and my feet are hurting so bad, and I get halfway there and my body was like, shutting down, 3, 2, 1. So I just had to grab a seat, and luckily, apparently, I think he realized that like my lower half just shut down, and he actually came over and had a conversation with me, and we took a picture together. So it was really cool. So Tyler is a great dude.
All right.
So yeah, you just never know how blessing someone here.
As George just said, we got to wrap it up. I got one more.
Absolutely.
But,
all right. Well, I definitely appreciate you,
that's an incredible
chatting with us
too.
today. And it was great talking to you. It was definitely great talking to you.
And I'll be looking to talk with you more. There's gonna be more stuff going on. That's all I gotta say.
Absolutely.
Be on the lookout. I got a show called Bosch. Watch that, and make
absolutely.
sure you check out Lazarus. So
yes, we love Bosch. Amazon Prime.
yeah.
We love Bosch.
You see me in there.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, take care. Have a wonderful day, and congratulations on Lazarus.
Thank you. You too. Blessings.
All right. Bye-bye.